like curly wigs on to look like Drake. You know what I mean? Nobody shows up with like, you know, the Jewish star around their neck.
Because I was always dreaming, right? But truly, I wasn't feeling that impressed because I knew that where I wanted to be was somewhere else. This is the first tour.
Me and 40, I've been in Toronto for like the longest time since I started my career, which is
Do things like zone out to the music I wanted to hear. I could do things
At all because, you know,
we were watching it on the iPad, the pre-telecast, and it kept cutting out, and then it just cut right back on for the moment where they're like, best rap album goes.
I'm a nice guy. I don't want to offend nobody.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like but at the end of the day, I realized I'm doing myself a disservice and I'm doing people a disservice because
Some of the influential people that I know, I don't really think about the people that did negative things to me. I think about the individuals like Wayne, like.
So Drake and J. Cole, both part of what is known as the Big Three, alongside with Kendrick Lamar, and as some of you may know, that they started around the late 2000s with some mixtapes that I've enjoyed quite a bit. And from Drake, I did enjoy So Far Gone, and with J. Cole, I enjoyed the Come Up and of course the Warm Up. With Drake's early stuff, I would say that I enjoyed a lot more than his recent material, but that's another story for another day. With J. Cole, I've really only known him to play second fiddle to Kendrick Lamar. I mean, no disrespect to him. I mean, he's definitely has that conscious rap ability. I mean, definitely showcases on the record I'm talking about today. But I don't know. It seems like I'm, I guess, neutral on J. Cole for the most part, I guess. But yeah, so the two albums that I kind of feel like work on the same wavelength. One of these artists, I think probably their best, some of their best work, probably the most essential albums in their catalog, have to be Drake's Take Care versus J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Now, before I get into the actual battle and the criteria of this video, I want to make one thing abundantly clear. This is all my opinion, as music is subjective. So please keep your torches and pitchforks for the comments down below, please. With that being said though, let's just get into this criteria. 1. Flow and cohesion. How does each track flow into the next? Does it take me somewhere or does it feel like a playlist? 2. Standout tracks. How many bangers or memorable deep cuts does it have? 3. Artistic vision / intent. What was the artist trying to do on this record and does it achieve that goal? 4. Vocal / performance quality. Do the vocals hold up along the instrumentals? Do they have their own sound? 5. Production and sound, clean mixing, creative sampling, and experimental tracks. Does it make a mark on the record? 6. Cultural impact. Does this record shift the narrative? Did it spark trends or influence others? 7. Lyricism / writing. Does it have emotion, storytelling, quotables, or originality? 8. Longevity / replay value. Does it still hit years later or did it age like milk? 9. Innovation / risk taker. Do they play it safe or do they reinvent themselves? And finally, number 10, the vibe. What's the aura, aesthetic, or emotional pull? Yes, that's going to be the criteria for this video. And I also want to make another thing clear, as I will, this is going to be a series I'm going to be doing, but since this is a series I'm going to be doing for, you know, the rest of this channel's lifetime, there's going to be some of this criteria that obviously won't apply to certain albums or even genres, because obviously it wouldn't make sense if I covered a electronic album and there's part of the criteria is lyricism and writing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure some of you get the point. Anyhow, let's just get into the video with the first criteria. Flow and cohesion. I'll get this out of the way. Neither of these records feels like a playlist. I mean, they're records obviously, but none of the tracks on these records stay away from the identity of the record. Firstly, Take Care's album flow is definitely more noticeable to me than Forest Hills Drive due to the deep cuts such as Doing It Wrong, The Real Her, and Look What You've Done. All of which is a really solid and do keep my attention as I go further into the album. With Forest Hills Drive, I noticed there's some tracks that actually lose me as I go further of the album, such as Fire Squad, Say Tropez, GOMD, Love Yours, and Note of Self. These are fine tracks. Actually, let me rephrase that. They're not bad. They're just tracks I don't resonate with and I could have done without. So please relax. In conclusion, Take Care has better flow and cohesion than 2014 Forest Hills Drive due to its deep cuts, not losing the record's identity, and so on and so forth. Standout tracks. Now, when it comes to early 2010s hip-hop, we got some absolute classics on both sides of the aisle. With Take Care, Child Track with Rihanna is one of the best tracks Drake has ever put out, in my opinion. Like, the piano playing is good on, like, when at least the chorus. I like Rihanna's vocals, and it's low-key relatable, actually, about how a girl is actually in love with Drake without her friends being around. And Drake is like, so we still smashing? Headlines is one of the earliest examples of Drake showcasing his confidence and dominance in the hip-hop space. You know, as he kept doing that type of shit, those W's quickly turned to L's, which really started to get to him, if you know what I mean. Lord Knows is a track that is pretty Kanye-esque, Yes, Look What You've Done is an emotional centerpiece of the record. Hell Yeah Fucking Right and The Motto both have Lil Wayne are amazing tracks. Like, I come back to these quite often. Now, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, there's really only one big highlight, and I'm sure you know what it is, but I need to say this. 2014 Forest Hills Drive has highlights, but majority of the highlights I personally don't come back to myself. With that being said though, don't save her. She don't wanna be saved, don't save her. No Role Models is my favorite song on the record, mostly for its chorus, as J. Cole dives into his frustrations with relationships, noticeably how fame affected his view on women. And also, there are other highlights such as '03 Adolescence, Wet Dreams, Hello, and A Tale of Two Cities, which are good in my book. And man, I wish I liked it more. I do like it, but I wish I, loved it more, Nonetheless, I think both records have standout tracks. You wanna know just where I'm at? Well, let me tell you about it. Artistic vision / intent. While both records explore the complexities of fame, Take Care takes a more mature and introspective approach. Forest Hills Drive has J. Cole documenting from his childhood home, trying to aim for true happiness. Luckily, both records achieve their goals for the most part, regardless of how I feel about them. Vocal / performance quality. I guess I could give it to Drake here, given the fact that he's actually singing on some of these tracks. But then again, it's not really the best singer in my opinion, but it's singing nonetheless. With J. Cole, I mean, it's fine. I guess I could say it's solid. I mean, I do truly feel neutral about his. But then again, I mean, it's J. Cole. Production and sound. I think this is where Take Care takes the cake again, because the sound of Take Care is more enjoyable when it's trying to achieve its hip-hop and R&B aspirations, with Forest Hills Drive is actually more warm and soulful, creating a more laid-back vibe for the whole record. I guess you could argue that it's the more accessible production than Take Care. I don't know. It's not that exciting to me personally, but then again, I can see why it does serve its purpose for J. Cole. Cultural impact. Now, both records have shifted narratives in their own way, whether it's around them or the broader scope of hip-hop. With J. Cole himself actually intentionally chose storytelling over radio-friendly singles, which resonated with a lot of his fans. Its success demonstrated that an album could gain massive critical acclaim while still staying to one's true self. Take Care, on the other hand, showcased that you can be open and vulnerable in the hip-hop space, which was a contrast to the dominant bravado at the time. This era of Drake, I've grown to appreciate a lot more after listening to him more and more often.
It was like so predictable. I hate that shit. This shit?
Lyricism / writing. Now, both have emotional and originality. Each one has one of the two other qualities. Take Care, I would say, has the quotables for sure, especially with the Lil Wayne tracks, Headlines, Take Care, and Doing It Wrong. Forest Hills Drive, I definitely give to the storytelling. As I did mention earlier in the last section, that it centers around J. Cole documenting the place you grew up in, which did resonate with a lot of his fans. Longevity / replay value. I think I've already mentioned this. I mentioned some of the tracks earlier, so we're giving this a Take Care. Moving on. Innovation / risk factor. I think they're both innovative in the sense that they're not necessarily traditional hip-hop albums, but I can't say they're reinventing themselves either. What they do on the record is by no means necessarily new to me personally, but I would have to say Take Care took a risk when it comes to Drake's persona that it didn't align with hip-hop traditionalists. With J. Cole, it was more about not really appealing to a mainstream audience, so I guess they both succeed in this regard. Lastly, the vibe. Both records can be a vibe regardless of aesthetic. In some ways, both records have an emotional pull, but for Drake, I would say he had that quote-unquote aura on this record. J. Cole's persona aligns well with the laid-back and soulful aesthetic of his album, so yeah, I guess you can say, like, yeah, they both are a vibe. So after everything I cover in this video, with these two albums, I can confidently say that Take Care wins. It has almost everything that you can find in a hip-hop album. No disrespect to Forest Hills Drive though, I didn't get that emotional appeal and pull like I did with Take Care. So I do genuinely think that both of these albums are very solid and are essential albums when it comes to like early 2010s hip-hop in their catalog. So yeah, that was the video. I really hope y'all enjoyed this. God, my voice is kind of tired from this. If you want more videos like this, please let me know. I'll probably do it regardless though. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video.